Oh, hello, and welcome to episode 39 of the franchise. I am your host, Daniel Ehrenberg.
I'm your co-host, Henry Papali.
Hey, we have a guest today.
We do.
Yep, it's formerly of... wait, I shouldn't say that. It's Isaac Lopez.
Yeah, what a great intro. Yeah, like people know who the fuck I am.
That's okay, Isaac. They don't know who we are either.
Great, we're all on the same page.
I was going to talk about your old job, but that doesn't matter.
You mean the one that I got fired from like 3 months ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that shit.
Okay, then I'll just say formerly of my apartment, Isaac
Yes.
Lopez.
Which I also got fired from not too long ago. No, I left on my own accord. It was all good.
That's true. I got fired from it.
God.
All right, and today we're talking about a couple. Hey, guys, I'm feeling a little cranky today.
Are you?
What should we do about that?
I don't know. Maybe get you some high voltage up in there.
Oh, all right, yeah, yeah. We're talking about Crank and Crank High Voltage, the sequel. There should
Not the high voltage movie that Amy Smart was also in.
Wait, she's in another movie called High
She's
Voltage.
in another. Yes. 1997, she was in a movie called High Voltage.
That's so weird. That's like I looked up. I looked up Terrence Howard on IMDb recently, and he was in a TV show called Sirens the same year that he was in a movie called Sirens.
Weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
Sirens.
Yeah, I love Amy Smart. Amy, she looks smart. Crank today. It's by Neville, Dean, and Taylor, right? Do we know their first names?
I don't think I bothered, I looked them up and read all about them, but I don't remember their first names. No.
Yeah, they're just
Doesn't really
credited as Neville, Dean / Taylor.
Yeah.
Probably nothing a cursory Google search can't
Exactly.
solve.
Right.
Ooh, cursory Google search. That's a little too much research for us.
I clearly did not know what I was dealing with here.
No.
Yeah. Isaac, why don't you, before Dan gets into the stats like we usually do, why don't you tell us a little bit about why you chose these?
Isaac, let's pause. You go look them up on some microfiche, and then we'll continue recording.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, why'd you pick Crank, Isaac?
Oh, God.
Because we picked Isaac before he picked Crank.
Yeah, I was literally given an option of any movie that, I could come on the podcast to cover, and this is the fucking thing that, I chose. I don't know. It's just something about the Crank movies. I just love it. I have no idea why. It's just one of those things.
Have you seen them a lot?
I have, not particularly a lot, but I do have this one story that I do love telling people about when I went to see Crank 2 High Voltage. I was dating this girl, and I think you might have met her once, Dan.
Which one?
This is way back in the day, anyway.
It would have been the spring of 2009, according to my cursory Googling.
Oh, see, you're stepping your research game up. I love it. Yeah. It was supposed to be... So I was seeing this girl, and she was, sort of, in, my circle of friends. So it was supposed to be, a group thing. We were all going to go to the movies and see Crank 2. Everybody backed out at the last minute except my really good friend, Steven. So he ended up being the third wheel in our unintentional date to watch Crank 2. And to this day, he hates this movie just because he just hated the feeling of being the third wheel and me and her making out for half the movie while he's just there suffering through the movie like a jackass.
That is a rough feeling, third wheel, man.
Yeah, it's not good.
No,
not good.
It's brutal. He'd be all right now though, because he has a lady.
He does have a lady. Yes, yeah. I was actually hanging out with them last night.
Hey, how about that?
How about that, indeed?
That's why we have to record 2 hours later than usual.
Sure.
Okay.
You know me. I'm not a morning person.
You aren't. That's true. All right, let's get into it. Crank. Neville
Yes.
Dean and Taylor released September 1st, 2006. And you know these September 1st releases, Hank.
Yeah.
They
They don't know what they're really. They're
No.
really not sure what they have on their hands.
they're
quite.
out of summer movies. They aren't ready to start releasing their good movies yet because they don't get noticed for the Oscars till Oct. So
Right.
these
Did you mean October?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
So these Sept movies, they tend to be a little out of left field. Like it's like what else do we have that we didn't know how to schedule? All right,
Right.
we've got a low budget Jason Statham action movie. We'll pop that in September.
Yeah, what harm can it do?
No harm at all. It did real well. Budget of $12 million on this sucker. Way to keep it down.
Yeah,
And box office 42.9.
not bad.
See, that's a hit if you're at 12 million.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
If you're Miramax and you're giving $40 million out to make Scream 3, it's not a hit.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's right. Your Lakeshore Entertainment this time, and Lionsgate, I guess.
Yeah, Lionsgate. We're doing 2 Lionsgate franchises in a row?
Yeah, I just realized that.
I
Look
didn't
at that.
even know there were 2 Lionsgate franchises.
Well, there you go.
That's crazy. Wait,
The impossible is possible.
Was Twilight Lionsgate, Hank?
I wouldn't know.
Cursory Google search time.
I think I'm gonna do a cursory Google search.
I'm on it. I'm on
Oh,
it.
you're on it? Great.
You go, continue.
We gotta do those Twilight soon.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm Team Edward. All right. I'll tell you what. It was a kind of a hit, but box office it was number 100 for the year.
Holy shit.
Yep.
Yes, they indeed did do Twilight.
Oh yeah. Okay. So they've got 3 franchises.
Oh, they have the Divergent and the Saw series too,
Hey. Well, Divergent that was a failure, but
and some Medea
well, you know I love Medea.
and the Expendables.
Whoa, Lionsgate.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah.
I thought they were just the company that saved Dogma from seclusion.
Guess not.
Yeah.
I guess not.
Box office number 100, right between 2 movies that I barely know anything about. One of them is The Ant Bully.
I would watch the fuck out of that.
I think it was a cartoon.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, never mind.
It would be great, though. I feel like we could make like a big hit if we made a movie called The Ant Bully. Live action, spelled that Ant, A-U-N-T, and it'll be just like these shitty, like bad teacher, bad moms kind of movies.
Sure.
But yeah, but it's like this kid has to stay with his aunt. She's a bully. We'll get Melissa McCarthy. That's a hit.
Wow. I like how you think, man. You're already on. It's already
Oh
in
my
production as we speak.
That is the finest elevator pitch I have ever heard.
I think so. I nail elevator pitches. I wish
Yeah, you
I
do.
should spend more time in elevators. Hey, and the other movie on the other side of this thing at 101, Hank. Can you tell me what this is? It's called Stick It.
I cannot.
You don't know anything about this thing?
Not
There's
a thing.
very rarely a movie I know nothing about.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Stick it.
I got nothing on that, man.
Stick It.
Sounds like a Bring It On type thing. I don't know.
It does sound like that. Hey, we could do those movies.
Oh, there was a couple of them, right?
Yeah, they were direct-to-DVD sequels. I think
Mhm.
Christina Milian was involved.
Okay.
Isaac will know Christina Milian, right?
Sure. I have
Yeah.
no idea what the hell you mean by that, but sure.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I just mean you're a millennial. Hank.
So are you. We're like, you're only like a year and like some change older than I am.
Yeah,
Let
I
me
know.
point that out.
But you and me are millennials, so we have our fingers on the pulse of youth culture.
yeah,
And
we do.
and Henry is a Gen Xer.
I have my finger on the pulse of whatever happened 40 years ago.
Yeah, you say stick it to Henry. He's like, oh, wasn't that like a Mudhoney song? Yeah.
Man, a true merging of the generations here on the
What?
franchise.
Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit about Neville Dean and Taylor.
All right.
Dearly Departed, gang, they have broken up.
Oh
Oh,
no.
is that right?
Yeah, it's really sad, actually. And from their resulting work as solo artists, it has been discovered that Taylor was the talented one.
Hmm.
All right?
Brian Taylor.
Oh! Hey, can I guess Neveldine?
Sure.
Is it Mark?
Yeah.
Hey! All right.
Boom.
How did you know that?
I looked it up, but I didn't write it down.
All right.
Yeah. Brian Taylor.
Yeah. So he's the talented one?
Yeah, I think so. Because, listen, together, they made the Crank movies. They made Gamer with Gerard Butler, which is great. And they made Ghost Rider 2, Spirit of Vengeance.
Yeah, I saw that. And they wrote Jonah Hex, yeah.
Well, I think they did a draft. It wasn't like... That movie was a mess.
I saw one they are credited as producers and screenwriters. I saw one that I'm sure you did not. I turned it off. It was pretty bad. But it was their follow-up to Crank, at least as writers, called Pathology.
Oh, no, I've never seen that.
It's fucking terrible, yeah. But it couldn't be further from the Crank universe if they tried. I mean, it's...
The Crank
Gross.
universe?
Yeah.
I mean, it is a universe of its own.
It sure is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. So, yeah, I'm not thinking they're any great filmmakers. But
I think they're
that's okay.
great. I think they're
All right.
great. Sadly, Neveldine split off and made a pretty boring movie called The Vatican Tapes.
Oh.
That's one of these movies that come out like every 4 years, and it's just like a boring ripoff of The Exorcist, and they always have really bad titles.
Sure. There's a lot of those.
Yeah, you know what the two worst titles of exorcism movies are? I can't
hear it.
choose between them. Isaac, you be the tiebreaker. What
Okay.
is a worse title? One of them is The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
I knew you were going to say that.
All right?
What's the other?
The other is The Haunting in Connecticut.
Oh, definitely The Haunting in Connecticut.
Yeah, that's real bad. Even
Like,
saying it
that
out
requires-
loud.
Yeah, I know. Like it's one of those things I say, and I just hope that nobody around me heard me.
The Haunting in
The
Connecticut.
Haunting in Is it The Haunting in Connecticut or Haunting of Connecticut?
I think it's in Connecticut.
They're still bad. It's bad either way.
We're in Connecticut.
That would be funny if it was the haunting of Connecticut, because then the whole state would be under siege by a haunting.
It's sort of
I mean,
like that
Kind of
movie.
is already.
Yeah, it's. I think The Haunting of Connecticut's that movie Get Out.
Oh God. Oh Jesus Christ.
Good movie.
I'm seeing it tonight.
Good movie.
All right, Crank. Oh, and Taylor, I should say, has not made his first solo effort yet, but he is signed on for 2 movies, and they're both going to be baller.
Whoa.
All right?
Yeah.
One of them is an adaptation of a Grant Morrison weird comic called Happy, with an exclamation point. And it's about this guy who like hallucinates this little baby dragon his whole life, and he's like a mobster now, but he's still got this dragon by his side.
You think they're gonna have that Pharrell song as like the opening theme of the opening score of the movie?
I fucking hope not. I'll tell you that.
I
I
hope so.
I hope I never hear that song for the rest of my life. I know it's a lost cause, but
It's definitely as much as far as a lost cause as it gets.
yeah. But now listen to this. The other movie he's got in development that he's writing is called Mom and Dad. Now tell me this doesn't sound like the next great film.
Mom and Dad.
Mom and Dad. The mom and dad in question are played by Nicolas Cage,
Oh no.
all right, who should have been in the Crank movies.
Oh, he could have been he could have been.
Yeah,
Chef
it's
Chelios.
true. It's true. He could
Yeah.
have been Chef Chelios.
Totally could have been Chev.
And the mom is played by underused Hollywood actress. We've talked about her, Hank. Selma Blair.
Yeah, sure.
And now listen to this elevator pitch.
Uh-huh.
A teenage girl and her little brother must survive a wild 24 hours during which a mass hysteria of unknown origins causes all parents to turn violently on their own kids.
Yikes. Okay.
How about that?
All right.
Definitely not what I had in mind when you
Yeah,
said
me
the title.
neither.
Yeah.
I say put that out September 1st, and you got a hit on your hands.
Not a summer Christmas release, December 25th.
No, everything comes out December 25th.
Yeah.
Shit falls through the cracks.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad.
Mom and Dad. All right, so Crank. I have seen these movies. Henry, had you seen these movies?
I realized when I watched them, these I had seen snippets of the first one and about the last 40 minutes of the second one, which was very strange because they had completely melded into one in my brain. So when I watched them, I was like, oh, okay, so this doesn't happen in this one and all that kind of stuff. But so basically for me, I would essentially say they were a first-time viewing. As an official viewing, yeah.
I would say that for me, too, because something I realized while watching these movies, I've only ever seen them right on the verge of blackout drunk.
And you can't tell me that that's not the perfect time to watch these fucking movies.
That's what I always thought. That's why it's one of those movies. I have a few of them, right, like that, where it's like when you hit that point in the night, it's time to put on Crank.
Right.
But so this is my first time watching them sober, which was interesting. And I have seen one part of Crank a lot, though, because there was some network, I want to say it was one of the FXs, that used to air it a lot in the morning from like 6 to 8 or something. And I'd always be getting ready for work, and I got to know exactly the time to put it on in order to watch him fuck Amy Smart in Chinatown.
Oh, it's 7:04.
Yeah.
Time to put on that.
So I've seen that scene a lot. Yeah. But all right, let's get into it. Hey, Isaac, why don't you give us the honors of telling us the plot of Crank 1?
Well, I will do my best. So Chev Chelios, he is...
Let's stop right there. The lead character in this movie's name is Chev Chelios.
Great.
Yeah, so right there you sort of know what to expect. Yeah, so Chev Chelios, he was injected with some sort of synthetic Chinese drug, and he basically spends the entire movie trying to find the antidote and the people who injected him with this drug, and with hilarious results.
And what does he do for a living, by the way?
He is an assassin,
right.
But he just recently got out of the game.
Right.
Oh, I'm not even sure I realized that.
Yeah. He had just recently quit the business.
I mean, you didn't even bring up the central conceit of this movie, which is that...
Did I not?
If, like, his heart stops beating at a certain rate, it explodes? Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah, like, he just dies.
Yeah.
Like, he had to, like, keep himself, like, active, and, you know, like, he has to have some sort of, like, adrenaline pumping, so, like, a good half of the movie is, like, him fucking searching for epinephrine.
Yeah, that's true. So, like...
and being consulted by Dwight Yoakam as the dog.
I think that's a very underrated portion of this movie, the fact that fucking, of all people, Dwight Yoakam
I thought he was hilarious, yeah.
I think particularly in the second one, he's amazing.
Oh, I liked him better in the first one.
I liked him a lot better in the second one. I mean, I love him in the first one, but, like, the second one, yeah.
I mean, it's got... Yeah, so it's basically like Speed, but just a person. Don't keep the bus above a certain thing. You have to keep yourself.
Yeah.
Which is great. So there's a lot of scenes with him just, like, chugging Red Bulls and rock stars.
Amazing product placement right there.
No 5 hours.
I think this might have been before 5 hours time.
Oh, 5 Hour didn't exist yet in 2006, huh?
I don't I don't think so. No,
That's interesting.
I could be wrong, but I just seem to remember them like blowing up a little bit later than that.
Yeah. There's a great scene too where he does coke off of the bathroom floor of a
Yes.
strip club.
Yes.
And holy shit. I gotta tell you, I've never been in a strip club before.
Really?
Yeah, I know, that's a little weird. Have you, Isaac?
Like once when I was 19 in like some real shit part of New Jersey.
Oh man.
It was a very, very odd experience to say the least. It was I actually left that strip club kind of depressed.
Yeah,
that's the effect that they have on you.
Yeah, I was like, this is supposed to be fun.
Isaac,
Why-
did you see a lot of C-section scars that night?
I think I did. I
Yeah.
think I saw one. I saw at least one.
Okay.
And I was like, you should be at home with your kid.
Oh, were you kidding me? The kid's playing some handheld video game in the back.
Right.
He's got his DS.
The daycare in the strip club.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Oh,
But
Jesus.
the one thing I wanted to say is, as a person who's never been in a strip club, it never occurred to me before they have to have bathrooms.
Right.
How fucking gross is a strip club bathroom?
This one's pretty gross.
Yeah.
There's got to be people jerking off at all times.
Like every time.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's ever a scenario in a strip club where there is not at least one person jerking off.
Oh, that's
Like,
got to be
it's just
true.
like a constant thing. Like they probably like work in shifts or something.
Yeah. At the very least, one of those old pocket jerk offs. You know those?
Oh,
Going in through the pocket.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah.
Can't say I've ever had to do that.
Hey, we
guys,
were
I
all
wanted to-
15 once.
I wanted to ask you guys quickly, just ties in a little bit. We didn't talk about it all, Dan, too. I thought you would have some thoughts on Jason Statham.
Oh, good
Like-
point. Yeah, let's do some overall thoughts on Jason Statham.
Because it works into the movie perfectly. It's fine.
Yeah, he's the star of this franchise.
Yep.
Right.
Jason Statham, I mean, he's had a surprising career. Because I was a fan of his dating back to the Guy Ritchie films.
Well, that's the first time I think anyone... Well, yeah, right. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch.
Yeah, and he's, I think, legitimately giving a good performance in Snatch.
I wrote down that I actually have seen him. I didn't realize I've seen him in 9 or 10 films, but nothing really has eclipsed movies.
Yes.
Nothing has really eclipsed Snatch, though. He will always be Turkish for me.
Yeah.
And
the
I
parents
love.
named me Turkish. Yeah.
Yeah, the
That's,
second time you've done that line on this podcast.
It's because
which
it's
is
one
funny.
of the only lines I know from a movie.
Yeah, I love that movie, and I love him in it, and nothing he's really done since, with the exception of this Crank, which I really liked him in it. But Snatch, for me, was a just really fucking funny performance, and spot on, mate. Spot on.
But yeah, that's what's so surprising to me is because I kind of thought after Snatch, he would have gotten more like actual movie roles, you know?
Did you?
Yeah, because that is a
Like what, Macbeth?
no, but Snatch is like a legit film, and
Right.
Brad Pitt's in it at the
Yeah.
height of his game, and
Yeah.
and it got really good reviews, and this is pre-Swept Away, so Guy Ritchie still had some clout.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of always assumed Jason Statham after Snatch would end up being in like, I don't know, like a Danny Boyle film, or
Oh, that's a good call. Yeah.
I could see him popping up in a Wes Anderson maybe.
And you know what's funny is a lot of those other his colleagues in his fellow actors in Snatch did go on to have rather interesting movie roles / TV careers, like his Lenny, what's his name? It went on to do some movies and then is in The Walking Dead as Morgan.
Oh yeah, what the hell's that guy's name?
Lenny something, I can never remember.
Lenny James, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tommy, his sidekick in Snatch, went on to play Al Capone in
Boardwalk Empire. Yeah.
And
Yeah, see, like around the same time as those Guy Ritchie movies, Danny Boyle was coming up, and like some of those actors in the Full Monty, like Robert Carlyle or Mark Addy, I would have expected Statham to have more of that kind of career. But,
That's a really good point. Yeah.
yeah, but he became an action star.
Yeah.
I mean, the Transporter really changed his life, right? Transporter predates Crank.
I think
I believe so.
Yeah.
And we could cover those eventually. I've never really watched them much, but
I've seen parts of them. Yeah.
but
As have
I
I.
mean, it's like we're talking.
Transport 2002.
There you go. Okay, so and that's like 2 years after Snatch. That's crazy.
Right.
So like this is a franchise guy because you talk about Crank. We could also talk about Transporter. Was there a second Mechanic?
There is apparently Mechanic Resurrection
There you go.
came out last year.
The Mechanic, and he's in the Expendables.
Yeah, that's correct. And I wanted to mention too that on this point, which is I found very interesting when I was looking him up earlier, and I'm just re-looking him up now, is that he was definitely enough of a known factor to like. I remember when I saw Collateral in the theater. Do you remember? Do you guys? I know Dan's seen it. Have you seen Collateral, Isaac?
I have not.
Tom Cruise and he has a cameo appearance in the very beginning when he bumps into Tom Cruise and like they exchange briefcases, and I remember thinking like, oh, Jason Statham, and it's kind of like that was 2004, and I know for a fact I had seen him in Snatch and like The Italian Job, and that's it.
Oh,
And it was
he's in
kinda
the
like-
Italian Job.
Yeah. But the funny part is that cameo, I guess he was enough of a known quantity at that point from the Transporter and Snatch that like Michael Mann was like, oh, let's get him in a funny.
Hey, talk
Cameo.
about Michael Mann. He could have been good in Michael. He could have played the Tom Cruise part in Collateral.
He could have. Well, that is one of Tom Cruise's best roles, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway. Yeah, so he was a known quantity, but you're right about his career. It's an interesting turn.
It's fascinating, but he does work for me as an action movie star. He's one of these bald guys that is like so manly that it's like all the testosterone in his body just forced the hair out of his head.
I mean, he's testosterone personified, I feel like.
He's great. He looks like he smells like balls.
Oh Lord!
What do you think about him, Isaac?
I don't know. I mean, what I think about what he smells like, because I would say that he would probably have like he looks like he wears a lot of cologne. He's definitely a cologne kind of.
No,
guy.
I think he looks like that in Crank because he's wearing like athletic jumpsuits the whole time, and those guys all smell like cologne.
Yeah.
But
I guess.
I think in real life he's probably, a degree guy.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
He's fresh. Is he married? Who fucks Jason Statham?
I think he is married.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna do a cursory Google search.
Yes. Let's.
Here, you talk. What movies have you seen him in, Isaac?
Well, I mean, that his uncredited appearance in Fast and Furious 6.
Oh, by the way, he was in the seventh one too. That's another fucking franchise.
He was.
And he's in the new one.
Yeah, The Fate of the Furious, one of my favorite
The Fate
titles of all
the
time.
Furious.
He's in that.
Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's still going strong. I mean, this guy has got a career that's still going.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's definitely he's all over.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was in that. He was in that J-Lo picture, Parker, too. I just remembered.
That's a thing that exists?
Yeah, I think they were going for like a Jack Reacher type thing and didn't quite make it. But I saw parts of that movie as well. It seems like Jason Statham's in a lot of movies I've seen parts of, but never wanted to commit for the whole time, the whole length.
I've seen now I'm looking at his shit. I've seen a lot of Statham movies too because I saw War with Jet Li. I saw fucking Cellular with Kim Basinger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was in the
Kate
one.
Basinger.
Yeah, he was in the one with Jet Li. He was in John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars. He was in the Death Race remake. I saw, holy shit, I've seen Killer Elite. How about that?
Yeah, you're an expert on his filmography, and you didn't even realize it.
That's right. Yeah. And I really enjoyed him in Spy.
Oh,
yeah. Not me.
Yeah.
I didn't care for the movie, but I thought he was the best part of it.
Well, he did what he could. Yeah.
He did what he could.
Yeah.
All right, how do I find out who he's married to? Hey, I found the Jason Statham weight loss workout in Men's Health magazine. I've got that.
You gonna take that up?
Sure. He lost 17 pounds in 6 months.
I just found out that he was a professional diver.
Hey!
Is he?
By the way...
Yeah, he looks like it.
He was in the 1990 Commonwealth Games in England.
I'll tell you what, he's married to a really hot lady.
Rosie Huntington Whiteley.
Yeah, she was the Megan Fox replacement in Transformers 3.
Do you think that's how they met?
Is she in? Is he? He's not in Transformers.
He's
3.
not. He's not.
No.
He's not. I was thinking.
She was also in the latest Mad Max movie.
Oh well, you know, that's
As
all
one of the
style.
brides.
Style, no substance. So she, you want some style, you could get her. She was one of the Victoria's Secret angels. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so
Frank.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
They've been together for 7 years, guys.
Look at that.
Oh, how about that?
Jeff Chelios.
He locked her down.
She's 29 years old.
Ooh, how old is he?
Definitely a lot, probably like in his 40s.
Hey, guys, he's also...
He's 49.
Yeah, wow.
Well,
damn.
Pushing 50.
Yeah. Look at you, Jason.
Wait, he's 49?
Yeah.
49.
Holy shit!
Holy shit is correct.
He shares a birthday between yours and I, Daniel. He's on July 26th.
How about that?
He'll be 50 this year.
He was also in the video for Calvin Harris's Summer, one of the great modern summer anthems. All right, we should talk about Crank. So it starts off POV style, and we get this every so often in these movies. It's a really interesting shot. They're using really low rent cameras, which kind of adds to the look, I think. Mm-hmm. And the first 5 minutes of this movie are basically like the Prodigy's "Smack My Bitch Up." If at the end it turned out it was Jason Statham and not a lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the big twist ending of "Smack My Bitch Up."
Okay.
Hank, you don't remember "Smack My Bitch Up"?
No, I don't believe I was watching MTV at the time.
MTV in 1996, they were still killing it.
That's true in 1996, but I don't remember that. And Prodigy, I would have just turned to change the channel. So.
What?
That's our age, my friend.
Prodigy's "Fat of the Land" is a great album.
Oh man, I seem to remember like I think it was like last summer, like the Chicago Cubs got into like some real hot water for playing "Smack My Bitch Up" at like a game.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
World Series champs. Smack my bitch up.
We said that at the same time.
Yep.
That album's packed with great songs, though. Firestarter, Diesel Transmission.
Can I just say, I was glad that I liked that opening with the POV, but I was glad it switched right off of it.
Oh, me too. I couldn't have dealt with that for much longer.
Yeah, it was a nice touch to just put it there for the beginning and then get rid of it.
POV needs to just have cameos in movies. Like, it works in The Rock's Doom. But, I can't deal with, like, Enter the Void.
I love that movie, but you're right. It gave me a headache. Yeah. You saw Enter the Void?
I tried.
I saw it in theaters at the IFC.
Yeah, with your ex.
With 8 people.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
8 people saw Enter the Void?
There was only 8 seats in it.
So after the POV, 6 minutes deep, you get your first boobs.
So many boobs.
So many boobs in the Crank movies.
It's a hallmark.
I'm loving it. It's a lot of Asian boobs.
There are a lot. It's a very heavily Asian themed franchise, and Latin too, because it takes place in Los Angeles.
It's also like equal opportunity racist.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Everyone's taking shit in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If Twitter was a thing in 2006, it would have been a buzz.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
this movie is
True.
definitely not #woke. But I think Asians probably take it the worst.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And they're not even really differentiating Asians. They're just all-purpose Asian.
That's
I
right.
know.
And Latin Americans, as you are, Isaac.
Sure.
Did you relate to the character played by Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite?
Yeah, I looked at him and I'm like, yeah, that's me. No, I fucking didn't.
Efren Ramirez. It's always so crazy to me when Napoleon Dynamite actors are in stuff because I feel like
It is
no
weird.
one should have ever done anything else after that movie.
Yeah, it's like they've just automatically typecasted themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, remember when Hollywood, there was like a couple years there where they were like, I think John Heater is going to be a star.
Oh man. Blades of Glory.
Saw it in theaters.
I kind of
remember.
liked Blades of Glory.
It's all right. You know who wrote Blades of Glory? There's a fun fact. Is Busy Phillips.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Those fact
Did you
checks
notice
and
that?
checks.
Did you notice that she was Michelle Williams' date for the Oscars?
She always is. They're
I didn't know that.
They're best friends, and
I
every
didn't know
time
that.
Michelle Williams shows up anywhere, Busy Phillips is trolling around.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I said during the Oscars that if I ever get nominated for an award, I want to just ask Busy Phillips to go with me just to fuck with Michelle Williams. Isaac, you've heard that joke twice now because we watched
This
the
is true.
Oscars
We did
together.
watch the Oscars together.
Yeah.
That joke just as funny the second time as it was the first.
I was nailing it during the Oscars. Hank, I was on fire. Hey, we got
I
a
believe
lot
it.
of good notices from people because last week on the podcast, we made our Oscar predictions for the major categories, and I guessed all of them.
Did you really? Yeah, I was thinking about that during the show and of how I thought that we were pretty accurate. I figured you were very accurate, and I think I might have only gotten 1 or 2 wrong.
Yep. I got picture, director, all 4 acting categories, and both writing categories.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how
Yeah,
about
you had your own picks, and you were kind of a little nervous in the early going there.
Yeah, I was
Well,
doing
I-
badly
I-
on I missed like foreign and animated and shit, and so I was getting worried. But then I got all the major categories.
Well, technically, at first, I did pick the best picture, and then I didn't.
yeah, you switched.
No, I picked La La Land.
Oh, right. Oh God, yeah. We are a movie podcast. We should maybe address that.
Yeah,
That was crazy.
it was.
That was absolute insanity.
It's my favorite thing that's ever happened at the Oscars.
Really?
Yeah, number one.
Number one.
What do you think about all these conspiracy theories? You think that was a setup, or you think that was like a legit?
I think it was
fuck
a
up?
legit fuck up, and I thought it was great. The best thing that's ever happened at the Oscars. Number 2, of course, goes to Soy
Soy
Bomb.
Bomb.
Yeah. You know I love Soy Bomb.
I know. You had commented like while we were watching it that you were hoping for a soy bomb type moment, and look at that, you got it.
I'd
Ask
like
and you shall
to.
receive.
Yeah. Part of me thinks like a documentary about the guy who did Soy Bomb would be really good, and maybe even be nominated for an Oscar. But part of me knows that the soy bomb thing on his chest was like a message for ecology, so I think he might be a boring guy.
Yeah.
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 What about Roberto Benigni standing on the chairs? That was really wonderful.
I love that.
It was great.
Roberto Benigni. I also love Rob Lowe with Cinderella. That's a great moment.
Oh yeah.
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 That's before your time, Isaac.
Yeah.
Michael Moore calling Bush a fictitious president.
Yeah, but he had like a grammar error in that speech, and it always
Oh, did he?
bothered me. Yeah,
What was that?
I'd have to look.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
And I always thought it was really for years, Michael Moore, if you went to michaelmoore.com, there'd be a link on the homepage to like a transcript of his Oscar speech,
Huh.
and he fixed the grammar error on the website. And I always thought I need more transparency out of Michael Moore.
I will not stand for grammatical errors being adjusted.
He's whitewashing that event. I don't care for it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so but that
And then
was
what?
good at
Just
the
real
time.
quick, there are two more Oscar moments that do come to my mind.
Go ahead.
The streaker during in the 70s, wasn't it, with David Niven presenting something, and the guy ran across the stage naked? Do you remember that?
No, I don't. I've never seen that.
Oh, you got to look that one up. That was a classic, and David Niven had a very funny response, which of course I don't remember. But my all-time favorite.
Can I guess?
Sure.
Jack Palance one-arm push-up.
No,
Okay.
that's a good one though.
Yeah.
Marlon Brando sending a fake Indian to receive his award for The Godfather.
That's so fucking good.
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't even Native American. Like, his whole thing was about protesting, and she just sent like some actress to dress up like a Native American. I mean, what? Fucking Marlon Brando, man. Haven't got to talk to you about him in a while, but yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that's my favorite one.
Yeah, you can listen to our coverage of Superman the movie for more on our take on Brando.
The brand.
Yeah. He's got a great brand.
Brand is strong.
Hey, so let's talk about what are some of your favorite Crank moments, guys? Because the movie, I gotta tell you, there's no forward progression. It's
Nope.
it's 90 minutes, which I love.
Yeah, that was a great length for this.
Great
yeah.
length for both of these movies. And
This one more so.
I think the second one's even shorter, which I love.
No, it's not.
Really?
Oh,
Felt shorter.
It clocks in like a hour 20, I think.
this one does. Yeah, and then the other
Yeah.
one is a little longer. And
No,
I
Crank 2's an hour 28, but there's so many like bloopers during the credits and shit that the
Yeah.
credits start way early.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, one of my favorite moments in this movie was when he drives the car through the mall and it flips onto an escalator and he's riding the car on the escalator.
That's great.
That was
Yeah.
fucking hilarious. I mean, oh man.
Yeah,
I
and
wrote that
also
one.
I just wanted to point out that the CGI it's all throughout the movie, but the CGI in that particular scene, okay, granted, it's like 2005, 2006. The technology's not exactly up there, but it's still pretty bad.
It's horrible, but I think
Yeah.
that's the only CGI they used in the first one.
Yeah, I didn't think there
Yeah.
was a lot being done with CGI.
Yeah, 2 has a lot of CGI. The first one, they were going practical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then, like the scene where the ending where he's like falling out of the helicopter, that was like pretty terrible.
Yeah, but
green screen.
That's
I
true.
read that he was on that helicopter. It was actually him.
Yeah,
Oh.
until he jumps. When he's
No,
like,
no shit. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, but pretty ballsy. for an
pretty
actor.
ballsy. I like anything with Amy Smart. All right. Amy Smart plays his girlfriend. She doesn't know anything about his secret assassin life. And he's got to keep this energy up. So he takes her out. First, he waffle irons his hand in her apartment, which is pretty sweet. And then he takes. I love that. The second she's like, "Hey, the waffle iron's running. If you want to make a waffle," you know he's not making a waffle. You know some body parts getting ironed. So he fucking takes her out to Chinatown, and they fuck in the street, and it's the classic moment from this movie, and it's such a ridiculous misogynistic moment because he basically rapes her, but she gets into it. It's one of those kinds of things.
I had like completely forgotten like about how she really didn't want to at first, and I was like kind of uncomfortable watching it.
Yeah, it's I think the sex scene in the second one is funnier and more over the top.
I mean, just the second one, I think in general is way more over the top.
Oh, 100%.
Oh my God!
They just said, "Fuck this, let's just."
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, we'll get more to that, but yeah, I don't. It's not as good. I vastly prefer the sweet car blowjob that she gives him a little later. I like any movie where they have to like big up the star of the movie by having the girl who's fucking him talk about how big his dick is.
I agree. There are a lot of dick references.
Everyone's talking about how big Statham's dick is.
I mean, can you really argue against him though? Like you just like look at a guy sometimes and like, you know what, that guy has a massive cock.
Yeah, it's like I gotta tell you, the best version of that is Vincent Gallo in Buffalo '66.
I thought you were gonna say the one where the Brown Bunny.
You see his dick in Brown Bunny.
Right. No, Buffalo '66. That's right.
In Buffalo '66, there's a scene where he's pissing next to a gay fella at a urinal.
Right.
And the gay fellow can't stop staring at his dick, and and Vincent Gallo's like, "What the fuck, man?" And the gay guy's like, "But it's so big." and I'm like, Vincent, you can't write that into your movie that you're starring in. That's not good. And I gotta tell you, so in Brown Bunny, you see Chloe Sevigny giving him a blowjob, and so we see Vincent Gallo's hard dick, and it's not small or anything, but I don't think it's big enough that a guy would be remarking on it next to the urinal.
Didn't they say for that Brown Bunny business, or was that just hype that it was like a prosthetic and all that shit? Or was
no,
that
that's
just
bullshit. It was a legit blowjob.
Real?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You ever see Brown Bunny, Isaac?
I have not seen Brown Bunny, no.
Me neither.
If you ever wanted to see Chloe Sevigny give Vincent Gallo a blowjob, check it out. It's actually, I like that movie a lot. Like as a legitimate film, but that is so bonkers.
Well, cool. I guess I've got the rest of my afternoon planned out.
Sure, Vincent Gallo Film Festival. Check it out. Then just jerk off to some American Apparel ads and you're set.
Oh God.
No one is sadder about American Apparel folding than Vincent Gallo. I really believe that.
I didn't realize they were in such dire financial straits.
Oh, yep, money for nothing. So I mean, what else about Crank 1? Because I more want to talk about Crank 2.
Yeah, I mean, all I'm saying is that at the end, I'm just glad that we got that classic Asian versus Hispanic race war that we all always just so sorely wanted.
Bitter rivals. Forever.
I did like that ending, though. I think we're pretty much establishing that you two prefer the second film.
Yes.
I much prefer the first film.
I thought you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, the difference between Crank 1 and Crank 2 is Crank 1's an actual movie.
Right, right.
Crank 2 is just a series of insane things happening.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually liked how at the end of this one, I like when he pulls his hand out and then he's like shooting them with his fingers, and then like all of a sudden,
yes,
goes up. I mean, that's pretty fucking cool, and
yeah,
I just had a good time throughout this movie. I wasn't bored for a second, which is obviously the intention. And,
yeah.
But I think it pulls it off, and it's over the top, but it worked for me. I really had a good time.
Couple other casting notices real quick.
Sure.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia's Glenn Howerton shows up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, as a doctor. and gets a gun held up to his head. He returns for part 2 in a very
That
weird
whole
cameo.
sequence was very funny to me. I loved when he's running into the streets in the hospital gown. I thought that was pretty fucking funny.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I also, anybody catch Chester Bennington?
No.
I don't know who that is.
All right.
What?
All right, Chester Bennington, the lead singer from Linkin Park.
Oh, there you go.
You know Linkin
Where?
Park?
Yes, I know Linkin Park, but I would never be able to identify anyone
Some
from
down.
that
I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Reach out and my. That's them, right?
Oh, God. Ugh.
I always conflate them and Limp Bizkit.
No, are you kidding me? They're so
Why
different.
would you?
Why wouldn't I?
The only thing they have in common is they got a DJ, right?
Ugh.
Because Limp Bizkit has what's that fella's name?
Fred
Fred
Durst.
Durst?
No, the DJ.
Fucking kid.
Like,
I
why would
got
know
it.
the
I
answer
got
to
it.
that question?
No, it's DJ Lethal. That's his name. And yeah, because I remember that was during that era where rock bands had DJs.
Korn? Did Korn have a DJ?
No, they did not.
Okay.
But they had the bassist play with loose strings, so it sounded like he was scratching, but it wasn't. But Sugar Ray had DJ Homicide. If you ever bought the album Floored by Sugar Ray, the one with Fly on it.
Oh, yeah.
The all-time classic.
Yeah, if you opened up that CD, the first thing you saw was a picture of DJ Homicide giving you the finger.
Put your arms around me, baby.
Yep. Love those boys. Okay.
Ugh.
But Linkin Park's Chester Bennington, one of my all-time favorite lame names for a rock and roll singer.
Yeah. Chester Bennington.
Yeah. The other great one is Papa Roach's lead singer, Jacoby Shaddix. But yeah, he pops up. He's in the hospital pharmacy, and he's the one that's like, snort this, bro.
Oh!
Okay.
Yeah.
He gives
yeah.
him nasal spray. By the way, he's also in Crank 2, Chester Bennington. So he must be friends with Neville, Dean, and Taylor or something.
Yeah.
He in Crank 2, he's the one that Jason Statham tries to create friction by rubbing his arm against a guy.
Oh, yeah. This is at the racetrack.
Yep,
Right.
that's Chester
Yeah.
Bennington from Linkin Park.
Oh, how about that?
There you go. All right, so Crank. Isaac, do you know about our 5 scale?
Your 5 scale?
1 to 5.
I am unaware.
Okay, so here's how it works.
Yes.
And this is good. We haven't said this in a while, Hank. So 5, all-time classic. 4, great movie, really solid, excellent, just not an all-time classic.
Yeah.
3, solid entry to the franchise. Good. 2, all right, listen, you're losing me here. What are we doing?
Uh-huh.
Come on. And number 1, dog shit, get this off my screen. This was a slog to get through.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what does Crank get?
Crank 1.
Crank 1.
I will, you know what? Probably 3.5.
There's no half score.
There's no halves? All right, well then I'll bring that down to a 3 then.
That is also what I am giving Crank.
That is also what I'm giving it.
Oh,
Boom.
3s across the board for Crank.
And we also tell them about the MVP, LVP.
We also give the MVP and LVP of the film.
and it can go to an actor, it can go to the director, it can go to anybody really that you want.
That's right. MVP.
I know my MVP. I'm struggling with my LVP, so I need some help. But
I mean, you gotta go Statham.
yeah.
I mean, of course.
Yeah.
All right, so we're agreed on the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your LVP, Hank?
I don't know. I had question marks next to it because it was a real tough call because it's kind of an equal opportunity across the board movie where no one stuck out to me like they did in the second one.
No, I've got an LVP.
Well, I might just jump on your bandwagon. Who?
The main villain, the Latin guy.
Oh,
Well,
What's
the
his fucking name?
main Latin guy, or the
main one, the one who's only a head in part 2.
Oh, okay.
yeah, the one who he got into the helicopter fight with.
Yeah,
Oh,
so he
alright.
cracks his neck in midair. I
didn't
just
like that.
think Crank, for such a dynamic series of movies, you need a more dynamic villain. I say put Gary Busey in that role, and this one jumps straight
There
up
you
to
go.
a 4.
Wow.
And if you want a Latin guy, I don't know, get the guy who played Tuco on Breaking Bad or something. You know,
Alright, I'll
I feel
go
like
with
you
you
need
there.
a maniac playing that role, and
That's a good
and we don't have one.
Yeah.
How about you, Isaac? Any particular LVPs or?
I don't know. Like I'm on board with you. Like no one. It was sort of like evenly spread across the board. So I guess just just for the sake of having one, I'll jump on the bandwagon that Dan started over here.
Wow, total agreement across the board on everything
Listen to
here.
this. We are
And-
simpatico.
I don't know if Isaac, if you've ever heard our show, but
I've listened to parts of it.
all right,
That's right, parts.
we do. Yeah, he's heard our show like I've seen Statham movies.
Yeah.
No, he's heard our
Basically.
show, Henry, like you've listened to any other podcast.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We do a superhero count.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Wait. Let me think about it. Wait.
Well, I
what-
got the one. But
just one.
Mm-hmm.
I can't come up with it. Who is it?
The guy who plays Don Kim, the guy who saves Jason Statham's ass in this movie, and who Statham spares in this first one.
Who's the actor?
The actor Keun Young.
Oh well, that guy's been in everything.
Well, I only found him in one superhero cartoon. He was in Teen Titans: Trouble in Tokyo, direct to DVD, 2006.
Trouble in Tokyo. That's why they got him. I'll say Keon Young. He's been in a lot of great stuff. My favorite performance, of course, is as the guy who gives them their tracksuits in Dude, Where's My Car? But he was also Wu on Deadwood.
I never saw Deadwood.
He uses the C word a lot in that. I know that. He's really great in that movie. He does a lot of fucking voiceover work. He's a really good... He's one of these... James Hong, who we talked about in a previous episode? He's one of these Asian actors that just pops up and stuff sometimes and nails it every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So shout out to... what's his name? Keon Young?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's excellent. All right, let's get to Crank High Voltage. I wish it was called Crank 2 High Voltage. I think you need a number in there.
I agree.
Oh, we really are.
No, you
simpatico.
do need a number in there. Like I just call it Crank. I was just calling it Crank 2 High Voltage just because it just made sense.
Yeah, me too.
I read that in some countries it was Crank 2 High Voltage, but here just Crank
It is just Crank.
High Voltage.
Yep.
Dot.
Yeah. Neville, Dean, and Taylor are back. They're writing and directing. Released April 17th, 2009. Okay, so I feel like April, still not a summer movie, but it's like a promotion from September. Right? April's when studios tend to release movies that aren't going to make $1 billion, but they want to be sleeper hits. I'm talking Matrix. That's Matrix territory.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Budget increase, but only to $20 million, which isn't that much. Budget, I just said. Box office of 34.6. Now, you're telling me fewer people saw Crank High Voltage than Crank?
Apparently.
But
Look.
does that mean people saw Crank and didn't like it?
I don't know. I mean, what was going on in 2009 movie-wise? Maybe the weekend it opened. There was some competition. I don't know. That's a really good question because
Yeah,
you feel
that's
like
strange.
you'd feel like it would have the following that like they would be very excited to see the sequel. And you're right.
And there is a following. Like it's
sure.
It's definitely somewhat of like a cult thing.
Oh, for sure
Yeah.
it is. I would have thought it would have been one of those situations like when we covered Austin Powers, and the first one only did pretty well, but then enough people had seen it on home video by the second one that the second one was a huge hit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know.
I'm disappointed in America.
Well, so am I.
I think seeing the box
In
office
general.
grosses of Crank High Voltage, it should have prepared me for this past year.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're back. They're
It's
back.
number 130 box
Wow.
office.
Interesting.
Behind Cirque du Freak, the vampire's assistant. Remember that movie?
Cirque du Freak, Vampire's Assistant did better than Crank
Slightly.
2. God damn it!
Yeah.
Get your shit together, America.
Is Crank High Voltage the lowest ranking we've had so far on this show?
Surely we've covered a Friday the 13th that did worse than this.
130?
Yeah, I feel
I
like
don't know.
I don't have my notebook with me.
No,
Do you want
I
me-
know. But that's
Uh,
pretty low.
yeah, it did a little better than Whip It though, and Whip It I did see in theaters.
I remember it. I didn't see it.
I love Whip It. I own it on
Oh,
DVD.
that's the roller derby thing, right?
Directed by Drew Barrymore.
Right. I saw that on the TV. Yeah.
Charming.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is ahead of Whip It, and what was the first Crank ahead of? I think it was another It movie,
Oh,
wasn't it?
Stick It. Good point.
Stick It and Whip It!
Yeah.
Whip it.
That's a good double feature. Stick It and Whip It. Yeah.
Yeah, whip
Yeah.
it good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then you can watch some of those stick my balls in it videos from the state. Or dip my balls in it. Yeah. All right, so Crank High Voltage. Give me that plot, Isaac.
All right, well, picking up from right where we left off in Crank 1, his body, Jason Statham's body, is scooped up immediately just from where he fell out of the helicopter. He's being operated on by a bunch of very strange men who ends up being from, I believe, they were with the gang, right? The
Right.
people that were operating on him, yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah. So then, this time, his heart's taken out, and it's replaced with some kind of like an electronic artificial heart with a power pack that he loses immediately. So obviously, this time he's going all around Los Angeles, having to get a high dose of electricity to keep his his artificial heart pumping. Hence, why it's called High Voltage.
Yep. So it's kind of the same movie, but it's crazy.
It is, yeah. They just literally just if there were any shackles on in the first movie.
Oh, they're long gone.
God,
Yeah.
they're long gone. They just said, "Fuck it, there was no reasoning. Nobody that was like, no, maybe we shouldn't do this." No, there were no no's in the making of this film. Only
That's
yeses.
true.
Yeah.
You know, also it might have been maybe one of the reasons it didn't do as well is I didn't look it up, but maybe it had an okay opening weekend, but just didn't gather the traction from word of mouth or anything.
That's
Maybe-
ridiculous.
really. You don't think?
Are you kidding me? Now that
I
I've
don't know.
seen, let me say this right off the bat. Now that I've seen
Yeah.
Crank High Voltage sober, you'll hear nothing but word of mouth from me for this movie. I'm going to recommend it to everybody I've ever met.
Well, that's you. That's you.
Henry, I'm going to give my rating right now.
Oh,
I'm giving this 5 stars.
you're
Oh,
you're fucking crazy. You're fucking nuts.
this was my idea. Not even I would have given it a 5. It's a solid 4 from me.
You're crazy, Dan.
This is 5.
All right, yeah. So it's a better movie than Die Hard, Predator, and Lethal Weapon. I got you.
I gave Die Hard a 5.
Okay. All right. You're fucking crazy.
Crank High Voltage is a perfect film.
Better movie than Dirty Harry. All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. All right.
All right, so it opens with
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final episode of the franchise.
Oh
They
god, did I just
parted,
I
they
just
parted
Yoko-
amicably enough.
Yeah, I just totally pulled a Yoko. Oops.
nah, you pulled a yoke
God damn it.
So yeah, he's getting this heart transplant.
5 stars. Jesus.
A guy puts a cigarette out on his heart, which is great.
Yes.
And then spits in it.
Yeah, it's so good. I love how unclean.
And he's
everything is.
seeing all this go down. Like he wakes up during the surgery.
Oh, and he's pulling faces like no tomorrow. He looks like he's just gotten a stone cold stunner. I mean, just I don't even know how to talk about everything in this movie. Right after this, he gets rid of all of them. He figures out what's going on. He interrogates a guy by sticking a shotgun up his butt.
Up his ass. Yep.
Yeah, it's great.
And he like lubes it up with something too. It was like some tar that's like in the yard of whatever the hell warehouse he's in.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about in the first one. In these movies, they use Google Earth as like
Uh-huh.
a
Yeah, that
map.
was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. There's a lot of weird technology in these movies, and I gotta say, pretty innovative because, 4 years after the original Crank, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World got so much credit for having a video game aesthetic, and Crank
Oh my
kind
God.
of did it already.
It absolutely absolutely.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's
Yeah, I
it's
didn't
impressive. So then he calls Dwight Yoakam. Yoakam's back. He's fucking owning. Like this is my favorite Dwight Yoakam performance, supplanting Panic Room.
Oh, and Sling Blade?
Oh yeah, Sling Blade. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, Dwight Yoakam fucking kills it in this movie.
Oh,
He
he's
does.
introduced doing coke off a
Yep.
giant black ass, and he spends his hooker named Big Black, right? Or Dark Chocolate. That's her name.
Dark chocolate.
Dark Chocolate. And
Yeah.
he's just owning this entire movie. He spends the whole movie just trolling around this apartment, doing coke and drinking.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's
Okay.
great. And then we're introduced to my MVP for the movie,
Mm.
the great Bai Ling.
That's your MVP?
That's right.
I kind of thought that would happen.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how familiar you are with Bai Ling.
Me?
Yep.
Well, I read she's kind of a fucking nut job.
I love her.
know. Yeah, but I'm not sure of everything. What name some of her flicks? Are there anything?
It doesn't matter.
It does. It's not really about that.
No, she's
Yeah.
an actress. She pops up and stuff. I think she's in The Crow. She's in a season 1 episode of Angel. But
She's 50 years old. I'll tell you that.
yeah, I know. Yeah, but these Asian women. Maybe I shouldn't say that. But
I
boy.
knew what you were going. Oh man. Here he goes.
yeah, maybe I should keep it. Hashtag woke on this podcast. But Bai Ling, I've always been fascinated by. There was a period of time in the early 2000s where I obsessed over her tabloid appearances. I would read tabloid websites, delisted especially, to learn about what Bai Ling was up to day to day. Because she was always at Hollywood parties, and she was the queen of the nip slip.
Oh.
Those boobs were constantly just falling out of her dress every day,
Okay.
and she was fascinating. And she speaks broken English, but not as broken as in this movie. Of all the racist things this movie does, is the most racist thing giving her subtitles even though she's speaking English.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah,
Huh.
that's true.
Her first line of dialogue in the movie is "No sucky fucky for you today."
Make sure they got that on subtitles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She calls
Just
the
in case there's
guy.
any question.
She calls the guy she's with shrimp dick and BB balls, which I enjoyed.
Doesn't she call Cheb Chelios her Kevin Costner at some point?
Yes, yeah, which is great.
And she'll be his Whitney Houston.
Hmm. Yeah, making a sweet bodyguard reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very strange. Yeah.
So I mean, she's all over this movie, and she's just dynamite. Every time she shows up, I'm loving it.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I was not.
Jesus. Wait, you didn't like Bai Ling?
I found her rather grating, to be honest.
Great, surely.
Well, to each his own.
Mm.
Yeah. She's not my LVP, but
There are so many MVP contenders in this movie, though. The cast is so crazy. Can I just go through some of the people who show up in this movie?
sure.
Go for it.
All right. We'll get to Amy Smart and Jason Statham. They're back, but all right.
Lemon.
Corey Haim.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Corey Haim's in this movie less than a year before his death. Playing Amy Smart's stripper boss. Amy Smart's a stripper now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Lemon.
Lemon, right? She seemed perfectly wholesome in that first one, except for a shot of a bong in her apartment. But now,
That's true.
now she's
Yeah.
a stripper. She's
a
she's
left
got
turn there.
black X's on her nipples.
Mm-hmm.
Here's something that was confusing though. You do see her boobs a couple times in this movie, but it's a body double.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Why
Huh.
didn't Amy Smart get naked for this movie? Because she's been naked in movies.
How did you know it was a body double?
Because you never see her head in the same shot, and surely
Oh.
Neville Dean and Taylor are giving you like a full frontal, if possible.
Got it.
She had her boobs out in that Road Trip.
Hmm.
Remember that?
I didn't see it.
Isaac, come on, you saw Road Trip.
I have not.
How am I the only person on this podcast that's seen Road Trip?
Why did you see Road Trip?
I own it on DVD.
I'm sure you did.
But then again, like, what don't you own on DVD?
Yeah, that's a
true.
good point.
Yeah.
No, I saw it because it's a Todd Phillips movie. It's his first narrative film, and I had seen his documentaries. And it's I was also big into Tom Green at the time.
Oh.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But Smart, she's mostly got tape in this one. By the way, that strip club scene is amazing. A stripper gets shot in the boobs, and silicone starts to pour out of them. It's fucking
Yes. I wrote down deflating breasts.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and that, I feel right there automatically sets the tone for what to expect for the next,
That's a
like,
good
hour
one.
and 20 minutes.
Big
Yep.
time. All right, we already talked about Chester Bennington. He's back. But how about a couple other musicians? That's right. At one point, there are some dog walkers using a weird electronic device on their dog.
I figured they were somebody, but I didn't know who.
Because they're terrible actors, right?
Well, and it just seemed like it was like kind of really focused on them, and they had like all this banter. I figured these guys must be somebody.
I looked them up because I thought it might be Neville Dean and Taylor cameoing in their own movie.
Sure.
But it's not. It is Maynard James Keenan and Danny Lohner.
Okay.
No reaction from either of you?
Dan is flying solo today.
Oops.
He's on that helicopter by himself.
Yeah.
Good
pal.
heavens.
Sorry, pal.
Maynard James Keenan, the lead singer of the seminal industrial rock group Tool.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dude, I haven't listened to Tool in like a solid like
Me neither.
9 years.
Yeah, but you should know the name Maynard James
I
Keenan.
should.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's also in A
Okay.
Perfect Circle.
Oh.
And Danny Lohner, the guitarist, frequent guitarist for Nine Inch Nails.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, at least they upped the quality of the bands in this movie.
That is true. And another musician in this movie. a great musician. We get a flashback to Chev Chelios as a child.
Ooh, I love that scene.
It's great. He's appearing on, I guess it's supposed to be like Maury.
Yeah,
Who was
yeah,
that guy now?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that was a
No, his mother. He's on there with his mom.
Who is?
Obviously, Jerry Halliwell.
Oh, of course.
Mhm.
Yes, I did. Yes,
Ginger
right.
Spice from the
Right.
Spice Girls.
Right.
Yeah.
Love her. I mean, there's just so much to talk about in terms of the actors. How about Lauren Holly shows up?
That was
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
weird as Glenn Howerton's psychiatrist. I think
Yeah.
she's trying to fuck Glenn
She's
Howerton.
definitely trying to fuck
Yeah.
Glenn Howerton.
Yeah.
But then Howerton gets shot in the head. Man, Lauren Holly's career has fallen into a deep, dark hole.
No, it's sad because
It-
I really liked her. You know, she was in the '90s, right, with Beautiful Girls and Dumb and Dumber, and
Yeah.
she was something.
It was weird when the sequel to Dumb and Dumber finally came out, and not a single person wondered where Lauren Holly was in that movie. Like,
Poor Lauren Holly.
yeah.
Yeah,
Didn't she like marry Jim Carrey after Dumb and Dumber for a little bit? Yeah,
Yeah. He's been with a lot of crazy ladies.
that he has.
Jenny McCarthy. Who else?
Renee Zeggs.
He's with Zellweger.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Bridget Jones.
after they did Me, Myself, and
Ooh,
Irene. I think.
we should do those Bridget Jones movies soon.
There you go.
Yeah.
Boom.
Hey, how about the most racist character in this movie? David Carradine.
He is my LVP.
Okay. He is playing. I mean, listen, David Carradine.
Yeah.
You're from America.
Mhm.
Just because you were in.
He doesn't think he is.
Just
so he
because you
never-
were in fucking Kung Fu doesn't
does
mean
not.
you
Right,
can play
right.
racist Asian caricatures. I got news for you.
I agree. But I think he's one of those people. He's like Rachel Dolezal.
Oh yeah.
Oh, good pull.
He thinks he's always like thought that he's like actually the fucking kung fu master from Kunlun. It's like, get out of here, David Carradine.
Yeah, he's like that blind Klansman Dave Chappelle plays.
Well, David Carradine. I'll tell you this: he's definitely way more well off than Rachel Dolezal now.
Yeah, he sure. Well, not anymore.
Oh, he's
Well,
dead.
yeah.
That's
But,
what autoerotic asphyxiation will do to you.
Oh, baby.
Wait, did he die from autoerotic asphyxiation?
Yeah, he was jerking in excess.
Oh, damn! Wow, nice one.
Thank you.
You had to one up me.
Yeah, so Carradine's playing a character named Poon in this movie, which is great.
Dong.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he died pretty soon after this, and I believe he was struck down by the Almighty God. Yeah.
Buddha.
Yeah, maybe. And lastly, I've got to talk about they come across the porn actors strike.
Yeah.
Right.
Ron
Okay.
Jeremy
There's-
has a nice little cameo.
He does. Let's all discover who the grossest of the three of us is by playing a little game called "How many porn stars did you recognize in the porn actors strike?" See,
I only recognized Ron Jeremy. I confess.
Hanks only got Ron Jeremy. Isaac, how about you?
Ron Jeremy and Lexington Steele.
Whoa, who's Lexington Steele?
He's I think he was I think he was in the porn strike thing. He's a black guy.
Oh, okay. Look, Isaac's got two. I've got.
What do you got?
I've got three. I'm sorry to say.
Oh, do you?
One of them I don't know his name. More his dick than anything else. But obviously Ron Jeremy, and anytime there's anything involving porn, Ron Jeremy's around.
Yeah.
So, but the girl who's rubbing her boobs on his windshield,
Yep.
Yeah.
that's Jenna Hayes.
Did you just look at that and you were just like, I know those boobs from anywhere?
No, I recognized her facially before she even popped them out.
How about that?
Yeah, Jenna Hayes. and the other guy is the dropping loads guy. I don't know him, but there's
Those guys.
there's one porn actor who has like a catchphrase, and anytime it reaches the end of the scene and he orgasms, he always says, "Dropping loads."
Oh my God!
And
Holy
that guy was there.
You're a piece of work, my friend. Oh man.
I don't know. Maybe there were newer people. I only know porn stars from when I was in college and high school, mostly. But
the classic era.
yeah, right. The golden era.
The golden age of porn.
Yeah, but it's like SNL. Everyone's favorite era was when they were teenagers, right?
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's very fair.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to mention a couple other people. One more actor you didn't mention, who's actually one of my favorite character actors.
Okay.
And then I wanted to ask your opinion on the music.
Oh well, I can talk about the music all day.
Right, Mike Patton.
Yeah, Mike Patton did the score of Crank High Voltage. He is the main guy from the classic 90s band Faith No More.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. You know that band, Isaac?
I do know Faith No More.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like know
it
them.
all, but you can have it.
That was huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a big
When
song.
I was in high school, you were a kid still, I guess.
I was into it, though. I think my sister had that on cassette.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And I was going to just say, one of my favorite character actors is in it as El Huron, the ferret.
Oh, yeah, he's a good actor.
Clifton Collins Jr., who's in a shit ton of movies and is always great. I mean, he's in his filmography. I have it up right now. It's ridiculous, but it just goes on and on and on. And he's always excellent. And he was actually in one of the best shows on TV of this past year, Dan, Westworld.
Oh, yeah, he was. He what did he play in that?
He played like one of the outlaws that Ed Harris is kind of using as a tool.
I can picture him, but
Right.
yeah, Westworld was great. Got a lot of good actors in that. There's no weak link in that Westworld cast.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What other crazy things happen in? I almost called it Chunk High Voltage. It's Crank.
Whatever.
Can we talk about the sex scene?
In the
An all-time classic.
the
Yeah.
racetrack.
Yep.
Yeah, so he needs to get something going at this racetrack. Friction helps his heart.
Yep.
And so first he's rubbing up against Chester Bennington from Linkin Park. Then he finds this old lady and starts dry humping her, which is great. And and then Amy Smart's there. Don't even worry about it. Let's fucking public again. So, they start fucking. They fuck so hard that they land on the racetrack.
Yep.
She's riding them reverse cowgirl, which is great because it's, horses. And a horse jumps over them at one point. We see a
And we
long
see the
lingering
massive
shot.
horse,
Yeah.
massive horse cock.
Yep. That's great.
Just because you have to do it in Crank High Voltage.
And
That's right.
Amy Smart is so turned on by fucking Jason Statham that, like, the look on her face when she sees this horse cock is like, oh, that's the next step. First, as a woman, like, if you really want to take it to the next level, you fuck Statham. This guy has got a horse cock all his own. But then if you want to take it to the further level, you can't even
Fuck a
go with
horse.
a human. You just fuck a horse.
Yeah.
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 How about the deformed monster battle? That was insane. The scene where Jason Statham turns into Godzilla, basically.
Oh.
Yeah, where they're fighting in like this
Oh,
this like
God.
power plant.
That was amazing.
That was insane.
I was pretty much checked out by that point. I couldn't.
Yeah. And you know what? Like going back to the story I said at the beginning of the podcast with my friend who hated the movie mostly because of him being the unwitting third wheel with me and my lady. It was just way too over the top for him. He couldn't handle it. And he loved the first one. He absolutely adored that first.
I think
first Crank movie.
I think that might have been a thing.
I can see how this can be a little bit much for some people, though.
I agree. No, I think some Crank fans, because it's more of a legitimate movie, might see Crank High Voltage and be disappointed. But as someone who thought Crank was just like a solid Statham action movie, I'm watching Crank High Voltage. I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? How did they think of this? How was this released in theaters? And now I have to watch everything Neville Dean and Taylor do for the rest of their careers.
Or what career they have, right? You don't know.
Well, I said Taylor's making the Grant Morrison thing and the Mom and Dad movie. I don't know about Neville Dean. I have seen Gamer, though, and that's kind of a fun movie.
You like that?
Yeah. Ghost Rider 2 I have not seen, but I assume we'll cover on the podcast at some point.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. That first one's pretty bad, but maybe the second one's...
I never saw either of them, so...
Oh, I saw the first one in theaters. That had that poor bastard Wes Bentley in it.
Oh, we talked about him last week. Yeah.
We did. Nick Cage is fun in it. Eva Mendes is a little boring. I don't know. I like Eva Mendes in smaller roles. But I guess we'll get to that. Like, I like her in, like, Training Day and shit. I don't need her as the female lead in something.
Place Beyond the Pines, she's good in that.
Oh, that's a good point. She is good in that.
Yeah.
What about you, Isaac? You have a poster of her on your wall?
I unfortunately do not. Sorry to disappoint.
That's okay. Isaac, you strike me as the kind of guy who in high school probably had posters of hot ladies on his wall. Is that true?
Didn't.
You didn't? Okay.
No. Yeah. I mean, I was never really a poster person anyway.
How many posters did you have in your bedroom?
How many posters?
Yeah.
Honestly, probably none. I was not a poster kid.
None?
I never had a poster.
You definitely had stuff on your wall, though. I'm going to guess...
I had stuff on my wall.
Can I guess this? You had a New York Yankees calendar.
I do, and I'm actually looking at the one I currently have right now.
Oh, you have one right now? That's amazing.
I have one right now. Calendar day every year.
Oh, yeah, that's true. They do.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking at March 2017, Michael Pineda. Fuck that guy.
Henry, did you have a Mets calendar?
No, I don't think I did. I did have a...
you weren't just looking at pictures of Todd Hundley all day?
I had a Claudia Schiffer calendar. I remember that.
Oh, of course. That's great. You didn't have Crawford?
I don't think so. I specifically remember a Claudia Schiffer calendar.
Claudia Schiffer. What did she do other than model? Was she ever in anything?
Didn't she marry fucking that magician?
Wait, David
Copperfield?
Blaine?
Yeah.
Oh, Copperfield.
I think she did. And he
Wait,
made
Blaine
her
or
career,
Copperfield?
He made her career magically disappear.
Wait, didn't she marry Billy Joel?
No, that's Christy Brinkley.
Oh, so they all bleed together for me, these models.
Christy Brinkley was his Uptown Girl, I think.
Ugh.
She's in the video.
Oh, yeah. The video. You were watching MTV at that point, huh?
Have you gone on your Billy Joel rant on this podcast at some point?
I'm sure I have.
Yeah, I think come up.
I hate Billy Joel.
Neither of us are fans, really.
No. All right. Do we have any? Wait. We also during that sex scene, she throws her panties into the crowd, and a guy catches them in his mouth. That's great.
Yeah. No, I think I just love the fact that everybody in the racetrack is just cheering them on.
Oh, they're pumped. And then when they stop having sex, there's like an audible groan.
Yeah.
It's great. They sound like the crowd in like an NBA Jam game or something. He's on fire. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up. I'm giving it a 5.
I am giving it a 4.
I'm giving it a 2.
Oh, that's crazy.
Ooh.
All right, so Isaac and I are ranking 2 ahead of 1. Henry's doing the reverse. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep. And your MVP, I assume, was Bai Ling.
Oh, yeah, my MVP is Bai Ling.
Mine was Clifton Collins Jr. just because it's nice to see him in anything, even as something as silly as this.
Okay.
And LVP, I'm giving to David fucking Carey.
Wait, we haven't heard Isaac's MVP.
Oh
I know.
yeah,
Two
my
and both, yeah.
my MVP. I'm gonna go with Doc Miles.
Oh, I'm with you, man. Dwight
That's a
Yoakam's
good
great. Good
Yeah.
MVP, yeah.
Yeah. LVP. I mean, I'm sorry, Dan, but it's gonna be Bai Ling for me.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, see, I understand that. Yeah.
I don't know. She just wasn't like, and I don't know, like LV, like I can't even say she's like an LVP because there's just everyone just fucking kills it in this movie. But I guess she just didn't do it for me as much as the others.
The movie ends with Jason Statham getting set on fire, hugging Bai Ling, setting her on fire, and then he turns to the camera on fire and gives us, the viewer, the finger. It's fucking awesome.
Oh, Lord.
I really can't think of a more fitting way to end that movie, honestly.
No.
But
I-
it's not really over, though. It's not really
yeah.
over.
Yeah. Well, because during the credits you see him getting the heart transplant.
Right.
It's the best ending of a movie since he wouldn't hurt a fly in Psycho.
It is hyperbole day on the
Oh
franchise.
my god!
Yeah.
Hold on, I gotta go. I gotta get a towel or something to get this sweat from that hot take, Dan.
Oh, I was wondering when you'd make a hot take joke.
I was just waiting for it. I was waiting
Yeah.
for it to take hot enough for me to bring it up, and there it goes.
Okay.
I have a superhero count.
Oh, okay. What is it?
I got 2.
Okay.
Clifton Collins Jr. was in an episode of the 1990 TV series The Flash.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Isn't that something?
That's something.
It's something.
And Fish Howman, a great newscaster name, the guy who's broadcasting all the news.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Played by the other great character actor, John Delancey, who I'm sure, Dan, you've seen him in a million things. His
I
TV
don't know.
resume is huge. But
Oh,
he was
then
in
I
Breaking.
must have.
He was in Breaking Bad. He played Kristen Ritter's father. in
Oh,
Breaking-
okay. Well, then, yeah, I've definitely seen him in that. Yeah,
He-
the air
he
traffic
was in-
controller.
That's right. He played. It was in a couple DC animated series. He was in a Batman animated series, and he played Brainiac in a Justice League cartoon.
I probably saw that cartoon at some point.
Probably did.
All right. Superhero count. Nailed it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Hank, where are we going next week?
Well, we had discussed off air, and I assume we're going to just make the decision right now. Are you leaving it to me, or are we leaving it to you?
I'll
or
leave
what do
it. I'll leave it to you. Say it. Say it now. Say it loud and proud.
We are going to go. Bum, bum, ba-da-dun, da-da-dun, da-da-dun,
Oh!
da-da-dun, 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 Rocky.